Hello. I was tidying out one of my desk drawers a couple of days ago, and I found one of my old watches in the back of it. And I thought I'd put it with the rest of my watches in a cupboard in my room. And I started looking through them, and I was quite surprised. I'd lost track of just how many watches I'd got. There's one or two unusual ones. There's some very common ones as well, but there's one or two unusual ones. And I thought maybe other people might be interested in a bit of the history and some of the slightly less common types. But there's one or two that most people have never seen before. I mean, some of them, as I say, are nothing special. So if I go through them, that's a Casio Wave Scepter, a very basic Casio, just a basic digital watch with alarm. That's a digital watch. That's again, it's a wave. Well, it's not a Wave Scepter brand, but it's set by low frequency radio signals from the DCF 77 station, as is the Wave Scepter. That's another basic Casio. That is an original G-Shock. Sorry, I can't see reflection from the light. That's probably something around 30 years old. It's one of the I don't know if it's the very first G-Shock model, but it's one of the original ones before they decided to start making them massively bulky. It had a lot of use. It's had a replacement strap at one time. And the only reason I stopped using it was eventually the plastic coating on the case started to disintegrate, as you can see there. And last time I actually looked at it, which is probably 3 or 4 years ago, it was still working on the original battery after all that time. But they do use a massive battery compared to most watches. It's something like a 2016 coin cell. That's a Seikomatic mechanical, quite an old one. And that is also quite an old one. It's a Sinclair black watch that I built from a kit, that's well over 40 years old now. That's a Pebble. That's the original Kickstarter version, which the battery seems to be a bit tied in now. I can't get it to turn on. It'll show a Pebble display when I put the charging lead on it, but it won't actually fire up properly. And on the bottom row, that's a possibly Rolex, or possibly not. I acquired on a business trip to somewhere in Asia. That's a little Sekonda, a police brand quartz, which is a pretend chronometer, the extra dials on it. Another Seiko, that's a titanium chronograph, which I believe I got in Dubai when I was working on some machines there a few years ago. That's a little... it's a good thing I wrote it down, because it's not a make I've ever heard of, a Quemex American Spirit, which I think I got in America as just a kind of souvenir thing. That's another Pebble. Oh, sorry, I'm blocking the light. That's another Pebble. That's a Pebble Steel, which was the second generation one, which may well still work, but I can't find a charging lead to fit it. And then finally, that's Pebble Time Steel, which is a later generation again, and that's the one I normally use day to day, which is a good few years old now as well. It's probably 5 years old or more. It's on its third strap, but other than that, it's still going well. I'll go through them all in a bit more detail and try not to block the light. In fact, I'll pause and rearrange things so I can get better views on individual watches. Okay, let's go through them in the same approximate sequence, though I'll try and get the commonest and least interesting ones out of the way first. I'm also dual recording this, which I've not tried before. So I've got one camera low down at an angle and the other one straight above. And the bit of tape just to remind me where the cameras are aimed at, so hopefully I don't get too much out of frame. Right, so anyway, this is a Casio Wave Scepter, which I use quite a bit. Problem is I work on machines a lot, industrial machines, fault finding electronics, and quite often I knock things about, and that's got quite a bit of a scratch on the face, which is probably why I decided to stop using it, because I didn't want to damage it anymore, which is a shame really, because it was quite a nice watch at the time. Again, nothing special, but Casio. Let's just see the make. Oh, not make the model number. Casio Wave Scepter Illuminator World Time WVA 104H. What it says on the back. The lighting's not ideal, but any other position and the general view is worse. Anyway, that's it. Moderate, kind of mid-range to basic Casio. And that's a very basic Casio, which the strap's obviously completely disintegrated on. It fell apart even more whilst I was trying to arrange it for the initial shot, but it still works. You know, scratches and wear and all. And the case is in a terrible state. It's only plastic, but functionally it's still there. It's a bit fast, but it's going after many years. This was a very cheap, I think it was less than £20, self-setting, it says an RC radio control watch, but it's set by yep, the strap's gone on that as well, very definitely. It picks up the DCF 77 or MSF, signals about 60 kilohertz, and sets itself from that if the battery was any good. And the last Casio, which is well, it was my favourite for many years until it just got totally wrecked, which is an original G-Shock, or a very early G-Shock. The number on that is a 691 or DW5600, for anyone that's interested in that. As I say, it's on the original battery, which was working until a couple of years ago, so it's lasted a very long time, something around 30 years, which is quite amazing. And going through the other basic ones, so this is a Quemex. Quite a nice chunky steel braces on it. It's nothing particular. It just has the same thing on it. Stainless steel back, base metal case. There's an American Spirit model. The case, the base metal, it's got quite a bit of corrosion and pitting on the back, just from use. It doesn't look too bad still. Again, definitely in need of a battery. And the slightly nicer ones, that's one some friends bought me for a birthday present some years ago. Can't remember exactly when, but it's probably about 15 years ago. It's a Police brand, which is a kind of semi-chronometer with the extra dials as well as a second hand. Any numbers on that? No, it says 10 atmosphere. Oh yeah, there's 11301M, the type number apparently. again, it's still good condition generally, just in need of a battery. And that's a little Sekonda, again quite reasonable, fairly heavy strap, and definitely in need of a battery. That one is water resistant 3 atmospheres, 03391, if that's relevant to the model number or movement type. That's just time and date. And that's a quite old Seiko, which is in working order still, I believe. That's a mechanical one, at least no battery to go flat. Yeah, that's picked up straight away. That's a day and date Seikomatic 30 jewel, and it's a 6308-8000 model. Quite a nice kind of silk finish dial. It's light, needs to read, but it's not too reflective. I don't know what year that'd be from offhand. Well, serial number, if it's interesting, is 5805252. But offhand, I have no idea what that relates to. It's a bit of wear, it needs a new crystal really, I suppose, or polish at least, and general clean up. And this is another Seiko. It's a Seiko titanium chronograph, which I believe you can still get. I did have a quick look on Amazon whilst I was waiting for one of the cameras to decant. Again, yet again, another battery needed. It's another quartz one. Oh, that's still got the plastic disc on the back to protect it. That's not had a lot of use, because I think I'd already started to use the Pebble when I got this. It was just something for something different to wear, or a smarter watch. And it looks nice, and it is a true chronograph movement with the separate buttons. And then there is this thing, which looks nice. It is a self-winding just date. But it was either the best bargain in the world, or it's just a fake. But seeing it cost very little, and it was something different, I was quite happy with it. Now, again, wearing it for work, typical thing. The crystal is chipped. I don't know if you can see that. If I get it just right. Oh yeah, that view on that camera at least. You can see there's quite a bad chip in the crystal at that area, around the 20 on the bezel, about 1 o'clock or 1:30. Then the electronic ones, the smartwatches or whatever. Well, this is not a smartwatch, it's a very dumb one. It's a Sinclair black watch, which is, I don't know the exact year these came out. It was sold as a kit. I think you could also buy them ready built, but this was bought as a kit. It's not in exactly immaculate condition. There's supposed to be a conductive button in the back for setting it, which never worked, so it ended up cutting a hole in the case to get to it. I don't know if you can see that on there. Oh yeah, let's get a bit better light on it. So there was supposed to be a conductive pad on the back of the case there that was a setting function, but as I say, it never worked properly and ended up just holding something through the hole in the case to upset it. I will actually put batteries in that, see if it still goes. It did last time I tried, which is probably 10 years ago. There's no reason why not. Got plenty of these. It's a LR44 style. It's quite a lot of equipment uses. And the digital verniers users, that's one of the reasons I've got them. And a little digital thermometer. I will put a glove on before handling those. I can't put them out separately. I don't want to get any sweat on them because that will, or fingerprints or anything, because that will make things corrode. And well, that watch is not in excellent condition. I don't want to make it any worse. Probably easy to take the strap off to do this, but I'll do it without. And there's a little retainer that bridges the two batteries and holds them in. I need a screwdriver just to pop that into place. I wonder if it's supposed to be a thinner battery than this. It doesn't want to go. But these are the only ones I've got. Oh, that's going. Ah, well, I thought it had. Okay. I thought I'd had a pair of these in before. Might just be because it's so awkward, or I might be wrong. That's it. It's clicked in. Right, and there's a little battery cover, which it's not quite located properly, but I'm not going to worry about that too much because I'm not going to stay in, so I'll not bother with the battery cover. Now, it is an LED watch, so it only comes on when you press the buttons, if the buttons even still work. Which they don't appear to. Oh well. And something's not connected properly on the batteries. Ah, hang about. That clip, I think, is actually shorting that battery. But it's not seated properly. It's probably not a good idea. Okay. Right. I'll try just holding that in, see if I get any display on it, rather than just shorting the battery again. It's not doing the watch any harm, shorting it, but it's not doing the battery any good. Oh, there we go. Now, you can see that I'm getting a 0 on it incidentally, and that clip is quite warm. I definitely shorted the battery, so I might better have to let it cool down for a minute. Ah, there we go. It's not set. I don't think I ought to try and set it, but that's 0 hours 0 minutes. You can see that. It stays on for a second or two. So it should actually go to 1 minute if I hold it long enough. I can't put it down because I'm holding the battery connection. And so I think it should be a thinner version of the batteries. No, it's so long ago, I haven't got a clue what it's supposed to take now, and I haven't got any thinner ones. There we go. Yeah, so it's still running. It's not practical to set it like this, but you can see it's gone to a minute past midnight. So yeah, it still runs, despite being a bit of a sad state in some other ways. But yeah, it was a kit. You got a small rigid circuit board, a small flexible circuit board that wrapped around it and created the battery contacts and things. There's an IC that which used at the time a rather obscure technology. I can't remember exactly what it was called. I might have to look that up and add it to the comments on the information. It was very unusual at the time. Bad pun. Anyway, that's it. That's a Sinclair black watch, and electronically, there we go. It's counted 2 minutes now. Also be muffling. Electronics-wise, it still functions, though the case and the general battery contacts things are a bit sad. Let those batteries out again and put the cover on. And you can just about see in there, that's a flexible circuit board that comes down. It's wrapped over and soldered over some of the pins on the main circuit board, and then it folds around inside to form the battery contacts at the bottom. I can't remember if it also goes to the display as well. I don't want to take the thing apart completely for the sake of it. But yeah, I think I was still at school when I bought that, and I used it for a few years, I think. And I can't get it off again. Ow. So, and the much newer ones. Get those batteries out. No, sorry, wrong one. That's a Pebble. Actually, the strap's gone on that. But that's the Kickstarter edition original Pebble, which works with, well, it will work on its own, but with a phone, either an iPhone or Android phone, it will display alerts, and it also runs apps. Now this is a fractionally newer version of the same watch. This is not the Kickstarter one, this is one after it went on general sale. And someone gave me this a while ago. I think it's got a slight erratic problem. But hopefully you can see menus. It's got multiple watch faces. Which can be... can't reload them because it's not connected to a phone, because the phone app is used to transfer watch faces. Normally connects via Bluetooth. It does other things, like it can control the music player on a phone, which is something I do use quite a bit still on the present one. Has that just fallen apart? I think it has. Oh. So these straps are not very resilient. The material's gone brittle over time. But, other than the original Kickstarter one, I've always put metal straps on. And that was the second generation, which is, as I say, is very similar function, but it's an all-metal case. Excuse me. I've got dry throat from talking. Again, it's monochrome screen. Oh, they don't use liquid crystal displays, which is one of the interesting things with these. They use an e-ink or e-paper style screen. I mean, it's a kind of hybrid thing. I think it's partly based on LCD technology, but it holds the display image with no power, or virtually no power, much better than a standard LCD. It doesn't fade out if it's not refreshed. So it means they can have a permanent display, which is sunlight readable, and still use very, very low power and a very, very good battery life. I mean, you see how good the contrast is on that. And again, this was the steel cased version, which is a lot more rugged. It's got a nicer strap, and I used that for quite a while. Then the one after that was the Pebble Time series. And again, this is the steel version, which is the one I currently use. Which is a colour display. I mean, the colour's not very obvious on that, but if I change watch faces, you can have a very wide. There's literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of faces available for these, and also other apps. Yeah. Not much colour in that one, anyway. Oh, that's just got a coloured hand. It is a colour display anyway. Again, it's some kind of hybrid ink or e-paper thing. I think that's some kind of game I put on just as a curiosity. Yeah, it's something. It's styled after Wolfenstein kind of dungeon game or display of one. Can't even remember what it does now. And it can do other tricks like I've got an app on the phone, which is one of the phones I'm using as a camera at the minute actually, so I can't display it, which allows this to display a rather low resolution image of what the phone camera is seeing, and also remote control the camera using the phone buttons to turn the light source on and off or take photos, which I do use quite a bit when I work on machines. If there's something you can't get to see easily, you can hold the camera in the middle of a machine gearbox or something like that, looking whatever direction you need, and take photos using the watch. I'll just switch it back to a normal face. I can't remember which is, yeah, that's the one. That's got a continuous weather display on it as well, which I quite like. It displays alerts off the phone for emails, messages, etc. And it's just generally useful. Unfortunately, not made anymore. The company was bought out. But despite that, you can still buy the things, and it's to me, it's one of the best smartwatches you can buy still. It doesn't actually have a touchscreen or do a lot of the fancy stuff the newer ones do. But on the other side, it's more like a watch in the fact that you don't have to maintain it all the time. The battery lasts somewhere between a week and 10 days. I tend to charge this at weekends, and that's it. So you don't have to worry about it going flat all the time, which you do with some other makes. But I will have to have a look through some of these other watches and see if I can do a bit of exploration on them, especially this thing. I'm curious. One day I want to take this apart and just see what's in it. Well, it's got all the right markings and everything, and I have had it side by side with one known to be real, and there is no visible difference whatsoever. So I just don't know what it is. But it looks pretty, it works. And so it's just, I didn't want to risk any bits of the damaged crystal getting inside it if the chip got worse. Because at the moment it seems to be external, it's just a kind of edge chip that's sliced into it and left a split in the middle of the crystal. But anyway, I hope that was of some interest, and let me know if you want me to do anything more with them. So that's what I might do something with. It's a nice little one, but as I say, it's just needs a bit of cleaning up. I'm certainly not going to start taking movements apart, or not unless I've decided it's going to scrap something, because it's something I've never tried, and I don't want to experiment on anything that's any good. So, sorry, no full disassemblies, but I might just change the crystal on that, or take it apart to clean the case. As I say, no actual full disassemblies and movements and things at the minute. I've got far too many other projects lined up and waiting to be done. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.